What's up, guys? Hope everyone is having a great day. Sorry, I'm just playing around with my microphone. Just a quick video today, again, just to walk you through what I effectively think is the best case scenario for anyone sort of facing male pattern baldness in 2022. Now, to preface, it's actually pretty amazing that in 2022 there hasn't been much sort of meaningful advancement in hair loss medications over the last 20 years or so. But that might be right, given the fact that finasteride is really the gold standard medication in the treatment of hair loss for the last 20 odd years. And as most of you should know, if you're actually interested in my content, is that it comes from a family of drugs called 5-AR inhibitors, which effectively diminishes the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone via inhibition of the 5-AR enzyme. Now, this can be up to 60-70% depending on the dosage, but many studies show, and I go into it in more detail on some of my other videos, that anything in the vicinity of 0.5 milligrams daily is apologies if there's a lot of feedback. It's very windy outside, a bunch of screaming kids inside, so I'm going to do this video outside in beautiful sunny Sydney. And the thing to know is that the drug effectively was discovered by accident. Now, it was trials and treatments for men with enlarged prostate, and as a side effect of the drug, men actually regrew their hair, and of course, from there, the drug was tested a lot more vigorously for people in the treatment of male pattern baldness. Now, there are much more aggressive forms of, or nuclear forms, if you want to call it that, of 5-AR inhibitors such as dutasteride, and many folks utilize this with other drugs such as minoxidil, which can have a very potent synergistic effect, effectively sort of a 1 + 1 = 3 type situation. And most of you would know there are a lot of highly profitable firms out there. I'm sure you're all familiar with them across the UK, the US, and more recently Australia, where they've monetized these drugs in an extremely effective manner. Now, I would highly recommend, if you're in a developed nation, to simply go to your GP, or the most cost-effective way to get a prescription, if that's what you need and that's what your doctor recommends, and not have the branded versions, because you'll be saving a lot of money over the longer term. And the reality is that hair loss is a long-term issue. Cannot be simply cured with one pill, otherwise you have no bald people out there ever. Now, as of 2022, in my opinion, the best case scenario and sequence of events, if you will, is this to me. So, number one is that you catch it really early and commence treatment that includes a 5-AR inhibitor, because without that, you're not quelling the issue, the underlying issue, which is too much DHT in your hair follicles. It's the genetic sensitivity at the follicle level that's the real issue. And without that inhibition, you're simply just going to get progression of male pattern baldness. Now, the simple reality of being a male and having normal male hormone production and 5-AR enzyme activity is that you will effectively have the ingredients or the precursors which is required to advance male pattern baldness. So I did a great video that was very well received on the actual hormone interplay, so be sure to check that out on my channel if you want me to go into a bit more nuance around how things convert, T to DHT, and also estrogen, and all the different balances there. Now, from there, effectively, in terms of the 100-meter hair loss dash, you're at the starting blocks. You have your block set, your spikes on, your tighty-whitey spandex with your twig and berries out. You are ready to run and effectively meet the Norwood Reaper. Now, some people get there a lot faster than others. Other people take, the better part of 40, 50 years to get there, and they have very good hairlines well into their old age. But the reality is that every male is going to have some level of progression of male pattern baldness, right? So that's the first thing to understand, is that if you're thinking, oh yeah, I might be balding, my hairline might be going back a little bit, there might have some concern there, then the reality is that that's probably going to be an issue for you down the line, right? Now, the key facet from there is you've got all the precursors that you need. Is, do you actually have the genetics for hair loss in the follicles on your head? Do you have that genetic coding where your hairs are going to miniaturize as a result of that hormone interplay? So you will see wide varieties of hair loss from men of all different ages. Some are very lucky and have very slow, like myself, and with low-dose finasteride, you can effectively halt the progression of balding. But there's some not so lucky, in which case time is of the utmost importance, because every day that you, put off treatment is a day that you're losing in terms of having a full head of hair, or a good enough head of hair, to put it that way. Now, the best way to monitor this is actually just to take pictures in really like-for-like lighting. So I think the issue that people have is that they'll take pictures in different lighting situations and then not have a consistent frame of reference for how their hairline's moving, for how their crown's perhaps thinning or whatever it might be. So you want to take it in like for like and monitor changes in your hairline, the crown, density over a prolonged period of time. So this might be a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it might be, right? Now, the issue is that if there's been a significant increase in hairs in your shower and you're noticing this, like the challenge is that most people don't notice it until they're already on that journey, and then they struggle to sort of find that happy medium of what's actually changed in their hair loss. And the reality is you might have only caught it once things have started to gotten quite a bit worse, right? Now, what you need to do is you look at the number of hairs in your shower, on your pillow, on your brush. These are all indicators that you may have started your race to baldness effectively. Now, from a predisposition standpoint, your family and folks that share your genetics is a fantastic indicator of what might be to come. Now, the old wives' tale is your mum's dad or whatever it is that's complete bollocks. If your dad is bald and there's a history of balding in your family, then you may have some facet of that genetic makeup that would sort of push you towards having baldness or progression of baldness in your life, right? And even without that, you can still bald. I've got plenty of friends who have very well-kept families with good heads of hair, and they're still balding and they're concerned about, and they can't make sense of this issue because they don't have the history in their family. They're thinking, oh well, I'm invincible. It's not going to happen. But the reality is, if you're male, you have those precursors. So you never know what's going to happen with the genetic lottery, right? So in terms of the key takeaways and the best way to deal with it is to not simply wait 2 or 3 years to start treatment, because hair loss is a progressive and cumulative condition. So every day of treatment is a day back in terms of saving your hair. Now, I have to admit I'm very lucky and don't have aggressive androgenic alopecia, and I respond very well to finasteride at the dosage I'm taking. There's a lot of people out there where finasteride is by itself is like pissing on a fire, and have to combine it with things like minoxidil and more exotic drugs and things like that. And they might have to use dutasteride, which is a much more nuclear option, just to the aggressive nature of their hair loss, which really sucks. So, you know, if it is something that you care about, if hair loss is something that's important to you, then I'd recommend going to a doctor that's very well versed in it, because you get a lot of doctors out there who you say finasteride and they'll Google it in front of you, ask you how to spell it, and then they won't have any idea beyond, oh, you don't need that. It's a treatment for benign prostatic hyperplasia. What are you here for finasteride? You got a great head of hair right now, right? But they might not have seen that you have been monitoring this yourself, and you've seen your hairline receding backwards. You're getting much more hairs in the shower, and they're all indicators that you're begun your journey, so to speak, right? So, it's hair loss is a big issue for men, and it plays a big issue in terms of self-esteem and, feeling good about yourself and all that type of stuff. And I honestly look like shit out. So I just had the worst sleep. So I look like I just came out of a car crash. But, all that type of stuff, plays a role. And I'd recommend, anyone who's concerned about it to go see doctors who are well-versed in it, know what they're talking about, know the different treatment options, know that you should begin finasteride before you begin Rogaine, because the key is the key to halting hair loss over the longer term is 5-hour inhibition. As of 2022, there's no other way that's feasible or reasonable right now. So hope everyone liked that video. I'm going to be posting a lot more regularly over the coming months about things that I assume you guys have subscribed to me for. So thanks for bearing with me, and appreciate all the support over what's been a particularly tough last 3-6 months with heart surgery and all that type of stuff. But I'm back 100%. So let's rock and roll. Thanks everyone. Have a good day. See ya. Bye.